Yeah, so like I said, man, people get offended. Some people say, people are ashamed of being African. We're all African. Some people say, we're not African. We're all Indian or indigenous. Me personally, I don't know. But as I said, I can't trace my lineage back to Africa. I can trace it back to here. Well, this is my great 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 grandparents here. Miss Simba,
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm alive and free. I can't complain.
Yes, happy FBA Friday.
FBA Friday. Okay. Yeah. Happy FBA Friday. Kenzo, appreciate you.
I just want to say that you have a really interesting topic for today. It definitely made me, it encouraged me to do some research on this topic, and not only for the topic, but just for myself and, my heritage and, my background or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a great question in the beginning of your lesson today is why was Negro taken off of the the race list,
Right.
was it is it some type of trickery to like try to avoid reparations? Because who came up with the word African Americans? It was Jesse Jackson, right? Am I
That's what I'm
correct in
hearing.
saying?
Yup. Yup. Jesse
So is
Jackson.
so is he like a plant or something? Is he some type of plant to like divert, us getting what we need or what we deserve? I don't know, but I find that interesting that they took that away, especially when it was them who gave that to us. They gave us that name.
Right. Well, interestingly, before the English, the Spanish came. So if you from like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, that was part of Spanish Florida. So Negro is a Spanish word. So before the English even came, um, like the Spanish was already classifying people from how they look as Negro. You feel what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, even if people were related, because, you got some people who may look one way, and then, their cousin or their brother may look another way, especially, with Negroes or black people. We have all types of offspring. So, but that label was already here before the English even got here. They just classified us in North America or the United States. They actually classified it legally on documents. So we the only people in the world who were classified as Negro. You know what I'm saying? Before it was just a phenotype or quote unquote race, but that became our nationality and stuff.
Wow. Um, okay. That's interesting. Um, I do have a lot of different colors and shades in my family, and we definitely have a strong gene of Cherokee Indians.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but doing some research, I see that there are multiple tribes from North Carolina and Virginia, which is where my family is from, um, that, could have been from different tribes like Lumbee or the quote unquote Virginia Indians. And they were just classified as Negroes just because of the color of their skin. And the closest that the Indian tribe has ever got to reparations was the Cherokee tribe, which is where I have a strong gene of in my family. But unfortunately, they never got any reparations. The only thing they were close, but the only thing that they did is fought for equal citizenships and rights and the correct classification of who they are and where they're from. But they never got the reparations. And I feel like because they were the closest, if they would have got reparations, then it just would have been a trickle down of them needing to pay everyone else who falls down, that same line of getting what we deserve, I believe.
Right. Right, right, and it's sad too because it's something called $5 Indians where Europeans can spend $5 to become legally Indians. So now when you have these European looking Indians saying that people who look Negro or have African descent and they're not pure natives, but they're calling themselves pure natives, it's like from every angle we're being like left out or outcast from every angle. That's why I don't really claim Indian or I don't claim African. I claim American Negro because that's what we are. You feel what I'm saying?
Right, right. That's true. And I see that a lot of Indians may have, married into African slaves because of just just because of the
Mm-hmm.
environment that they were in, or if it was because of, safety for not being killed from the cowboys. Excuse me if that's just the incorrect, ignorant thing to say, but just from what I see, that they were married into African slaves because of, just the environment or for protection. And that's
Right.
how, people are born and they have that history of having, native blood in them. Um, but yeah, I think this is very interesting, and I do feel like they took the word Negro off the card, in lack of terms, just to avoid that whole paying out, because there are other cultures that got paid, like respectfully the Jewish people. They got their reparations.
Mm-hmm.
What is the hold up for paying people who built America?
Right.
What,
Even the
what's
Chinese got a form of reparations. My fault. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh wait, the Chinese got reparations. What they do to them?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
What happened to them? I don't know.
Because
I'm
I think
sorry.
during some type of war, they were America put them in like concentration camps or something like that. Yeah. So
Really?
yep. But they were citizens of America, so they felt like they were not China. They was citizens of America, so America gave them they gave them reparation, a form of reparation. Yep.
Okay. We were in the same quote unquote camps. They were just called plantations. We have people
Right.
that are dead under the White House. The same people who built the White House are dead and buried
Mm-hmm.
under it.
Right. Even
We
my bad. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I'm listening.
No, I was gonna say a Negro. I forgot his name. Benjamin Banneker or something. He like designed the out the the layout for Washington D.C.
Really?
I'm not sure if that's his name though. I'm not sure if that's his name, but I know it. It was a Negro who. Yep. For real. Yep.
And it's I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but watching a movie now, it's a movie that I just cannot bear to watch, because although it's a fictional movie, it's still based off of true events. 12 Years of Slave
Mm-hmm.
is so triggering, just because it just displayed how we as Black Americans who were in America were either kidnapped while we were free here to be
Mm-hmm.
on a plantation in the South and build, grow crops and sell and, do what we have to do to make sure that the people who own a plantation can sell those goods so they can get money and build more land. I mean, you don't think we deserve any reparations for that? We got killed, we got raped. We don't deserve anything for that. I mean, that is somewhat of a camp. Is it my background is making that noise, or is it no
Um,
noise at all?
it is a noise. Like what kind of noise?
Maybe like a air or fan, but
Oh
I
well,
think
you
it's
sound
not
you
me.
sound better now. You kind of sound low before, but you kind of sound better now.
Oh, y'all hear me now?
Hmm.
Sorry. Okay. So yeah.
Maybe that's me.
Um.
I don't know. Let me see. Let me go on mute and see.
It probably was me. Or yeah, I don't hear it anymore.
Did you
But
hear?
it's
Did
it's
it
be-
go
it's
away?
it's better now that I disconnected from a device. So
Oh, okay,
all is,
okay.
all is, So yeah, that's my thoughts on it, and I'm not sure how we can go from here to get those said reparations, but um, maybe unity. We stop fighting each other and come together and maybe something like that. But when groups and organizations come together, I see a history of them being killed. Leaders are being killed because they know the goal and they know that's the reason why organizations are being made. So they kill them. So or they unalive them. So it's just it's really sad when you think about it.
Yeah, it is, and we as a people, I got to give us props because some people say we the most racist people in America, but like if that was true, could you blame us? Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand how people can, see this history and all the things that we've been through,
Hmm.
and have the audacity to say we are playing the victim, or I don't get that part, but I try to like stay sick. I don't want to prove them right by acting out, being ignorant.
Right, right. So I agree. Like we do have that hate, we have hurt in us because of, you know, the history that comes with us. And we get the poop end of the stick. So yeah, I agree. And I don't think it's fair, but it's a sad story. I don't know. But yes, I really do love the topic, and I'm still learning, and it really took some deep research to really understand how people were labeled as Negro or color, especially when they technically weren't. They were their own they had their own heritage, their own native, their own bloodline, but because of the color of their skin, you just call them color or Negro. Um, and they have Native Americans from California. They were called the Spanish missions. So I don't know if that was the origin of the whole Negro, or they were also called mulatto, which I think is Italian. I don't
Well,
know.
I think mulatto is Negro mixed with European or something like that. I think that's where mulatto comes from.
Okay, but the word mulatto, is that a Spanish name? Is that a Spanish
Yeah,
word
that's a
or like
Spanish
a
name.
Oh,
That's a
okay,
Spanish name.
Spanish.
Because you got to remember the Spanish came to North America first. So the Seminoles are from Florida, South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, and they were free under the Spanish. But then the Spanish, I guess they sold, Spanish Florida to the U.S. or something like that. They were re-enslaved, or they was colonized. So this is where you have the Yamasee Wars, the Seminole Wars, the Negro Wars, the Indian Wars. It was a bunch of wars that went on, that people we don't really even speak about, or people don't really even know about. Like, even some Negroes like John Horse, they went to Mexico. So you have Seminoles in Mexico. Like, you have Negroes from here in Mexico, and they started their own thing out there.
Yeah, I did see somewhere where tribes were battling in the courts, or maybe just out in the field, just to get like their own recognition of who they are. But and some won to get their respect and who they are, but just never got the reparations for all the work that they did. And it's like we can fight in the courts and get recognition or get these settlements and rulings in our favor, but you're not going to pay. I don't like it just
Right?
baffles me. It baffles me, and I don't understand the like it's common sense. Like we built this, we grew it, we built it. Why like is it a is the government afraid that if they do, you know consider reparations that it will basically be, they have to pay everyone? Is that why we have these stimmy checks? Is that like a slap on the wrist, like like a sneak reparation check every now and then? Like what?
Right. If they giving away our money, you know,
Mm.
because you got to remember, see, a lot of people who come here, they say, we wasn't slaves, but it's not only slaves. It's we were segregated, so we had our own towns. Some of our towns are underwater. Seneca Village, they became a park. Red lining, they put highways and all of that. So what happened to when we were segregated? What happened to our towns? What happened to our banks? What happened to it? You feel what I'm saying? So it's not only slavery. And then some people say, like the 14th Amendment is why we was supposed to be separate but equal, but they had the Jim Crow laws and all that, and this is why we march for civil rights and things of that nature. So the people, immigrants, they benefit off of the 14th Amendment, the 13th Amendment, things that were put in place for us. They benefit off of that too. So they are actually benefiting off of what we did, our labor, our fight, and things of that nature. And we never complained about it, but now they're saying, oh, y'all wasn't slaves, y'all don't deserve reparations, or stuff like that. And it's like, how could y'all turn your back on us when we actually fought for y'all also, and not only black people, white people, Latin people, Asian people,
That's a good point, because even after slavery, we dusted dirt off our shoulders and we built our own towns. We had our own
Mm-hmm.
businesses, and what did they do? They came and burnt it down. They have
Right.
towns in Georgia that's underwater, like Lake. I forgot the name of the lake, but
Mm-hmm.
places like that. They have these massacres and these fires in the towns that we are all building together and working together to, produce more money and just land, and y'all come in and ruin it. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
And we did it under the name Negro. Like, we had the Negro Star, that was our newspaper. We had Negro Comics, our own comic books. We had the Negro League baseball, the Negro Five, our own basketball. We had Negro Mountain. We had the Negro Islands. We had the Negro Fort. We have so many things in this country under that name that we built.
Wow.
And now when they take away the name, you've taken away all of that history. You feel what I'm saying?
All of that history, and yeah, it's like they're trying to erase history, erase
Right.
what how we came about, how did we get that name, and how did we get comfortable to use that name and own what it was that y'all labeled us.
Exactly. So in actuality, if the Spanish called us Negroes before the English got here, Negroes was actually already in North America before the English even got here, and then the English had the Civil War, and then that's how the United States became the United States, and that's why people say foundational Black Americans, because we were here before the foundation of America was built, before the European, well, not the Europeans, but before the English and the quote unquote Americans even touched this land.
Wow. So yeah, that makes me go back to my opinion earlier. Jesse Jackson was a plant, and he took that away from us, especially
You
when
know
we
what?
should know better.
I be thinking everybody's a plant, but all praises to the Most High. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, because I didn't know all of this stuff myself, and if I didn't have access to the internet and things of that nature, I probably would never know. So maybe the elders or the Jesse Jacksons and those people didn't know these things. Like, they didn't they didn't know this history. They didn't have access to these records and stuff like that. Maybe, but like the whole plant thing, I'm more going towards that. But all praises to the Most High. I try to have an open mind.
Try to stay away from all the conspiracy stuff.
Right, right. I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, but you never know. You never know when money and power is involved.
Right. Right. And that could be, another reason why I feel like they might just do not, want to do the whole reparations, because it would be the United States versus everybody, like versus another country, or maybe start wars because, you know, not everyone has Indian or Native or heritage. Some people, we may not all come from Africa, but people were still taken from Africa, people were still taken from Cuba, and shipped across country. So even them can say, well, now you owe us because they didn't get there if you didn't take my family or my, from us for where we are.
Right, right. But see, when it comes to the United States, what makes us different is that revolution. Like when they had that revolution, they what they did to us, they did to us. But before that, the other people have to speak to the French, the English, the Spanish. You feel what I'm saying? Like when America had a revolution and became Americans, they became Americans. They had their independence. They're the ones who enslaved us and did all of these violations to us here in America. North America, United States of America. So other people have to speak to. They don't. It has nothing to do with America or Americans. You see what I'm saying? Or the government of America, because it wasn't even established at that time.
I see what you're saying. And before we became Americans and had those, they had those wars to become who we are as Americans. Like they had those wars with those countries. So I see what you're
Hmm.
saying. Like they already had those wars. Everything was fought, and that was settled, and now we're independent. Is that what you're saying? Like,
Right, because we actually, I think the first, I forget his name, but the first one, and I think the Civil War or the Revolutionary War, the first one that they got is like a picture of the first person out into battle was a Negro. So we fought in the Revolutionary War, we fought in the Civil War, we fought in every war of this country. So we even helped fight the wars for this to be established. So when these people got their independence from Britain, they continued, they enslaved us. You feel what I'm saying? Like they continued to enslave us. So it's like even when they took over Florida, Seminoles and it was free Negroes there. So just like 12 years a slave, they re-enslaved people. You feel what I'm saying? So it's real deep. It is real. It's diabolical.
it's
It's
definitely
diabolical.
diabolical because they enslaved people who even weren't even slaves in the beginning. Like some people were doctors, they were professionals, they were
Right.
musicians, and they looked nice. You can tell they came from something good. They dressed really nice. They even mingled with the fancy white people in places, and then in the middle of the night you just get kidnapped and you wake up on a plantation like, what is this? I have no idea. Like, so yes, I totally
Right.
understand, and
And it's like,
diabolical.
what if this never happened to us? Like some of us we don't have no inheritance. Like a lot of these people who came here colonizing and all that, this wealth was passed down as inheritance. So when that's all free labor, all of that free labor and all of that we did to build the country, our people did to build the country. If they would have been paid for that or whatever, it would be a whole different country right now. Like some people never recovered from after desegregation. They never recovered because they didn't have nothing. So slavery, they made the vagrant laws. So now that you free, if you don't have a job and a place to stay, they put you right in jail. So some people came straight from slavery and they put them into jail. So like the police
Mm.
started out as slave catchers. So even the penitentiary system and all of that is built off of slavery. You feel what I'm saying? So
I've
how you gonna
always
expect
yes. I'm
people to
sorry, I'm
have a
listening.
job and a place to stay when you just free them from slavery? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I always look at it that way. I never believe, okay, there are bad people out here in the world, but I always looked at prison as like another form of slavery. And that's exactly where it all came from. It came from, you know, getting people from one place and putting them in prison because they didn't have nowhere to go. Some slaves were free, or after they did their, they were. I believe there were white slaves also, but that's the, they,
Right. So when you go to that, they were called indentured servants. So you got to remember,
yes.
before chattel slavery, the first quote unquote Africans that came in 1619, they wasn't slave. They were indentured servants. Some people say the first slave was a Negro, uh, had a indentured servant, and they became indentured for life. So that became the first slave. That's what some people say. So we wasn't so we was like the so-called white people. We was indentured and stuff like that. But then when chattel slavery came in, like 1776, or during the revolution or after the revolution, people were becoming indentured for life, and that's what you would call a slave. Because indentured,
Wow.
you just work off, I guess 7 years, and then you become a citizen. You feel what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah, it's oh my gosh, it's diabolical. And I come from I'm from the hood, so sometimes I be reading this stuff, like I just want to turn up and all that, but I'm like, man, Crook, salute, appreciate you, my brother. Crook gifted 20 new members, salute, appreciate you, my brother.
Wow. Yeah. And I don't think we can never get enough of research to learn history. Like it's ongoing. There's no end. Is no is no ending on how far to go back to learn your history and do research. So I definitely have done some, and I'm not saying that I'm done because it's more that I could know for myself and for my family. But this was very interesting.
So where do your folk like come from?
So I have family in North Carolina, I have family in Virginia. My great grandfather was a full blooded Cherokee. Um, and I believe he came from North Carolina, right? I believe.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, that's Yamasee.
Yamasee. Let me see, because I did some research on them. Let me see.
Yeah, because you got to remember Cherokee like is kind of made up. Creek, like the Creek Indians come from because natives live near the creek, so they call them
Okay.
Creek. You know what I'm saying? But it was different
Mm-hmm.
tribes that they all pushed in together, and then some of them who resembled Negroes, they were classified as Negroes. So it's just the whole this whole thing. And in Virginia, you have the Pocahontas, and the Powhatan tribe. They was classified as Negro. You feel what I'm saying? So some of us who may look Negro or African, or they're not from Africa. You know what I'm saying? They was just classified as that.
Correct, correct.
And
Okay, Yamasee.
oh my god, yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say one more thing. And on top of that, they said it was 10 million slaves that came to the New World. Only, I think, 400,000 came to to North America. The rest of them went to the Caribbean and Latin America. So we had the least amount of quote unquote Africans that came here from slavery.
Wow. So that's just on my mom's side. Now my dad's side, they're from South Carolina, which I see where the region of Yamasee, and they have the highest cheekbones, and they have the most richest chocolate skin, and pretty hair. So it's like, both sides. I still have to do my research, but on both sides I still haven't seen any history of 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 African tribes. And
Right.
I'm not saying it's not possible, because we have thousands and thousands of years to go back. Um, I believe Jesus was, from Egypt, which is in Africa. So I feel like we still all come from, that area.
Right.
But you know, both sides on my family, they both come from the South, and they both have that native blood that I see to this day that are still alive. So
Right.
it's just
Every FBA or Negro American I know have, native blood, they have native blood and all of that type of stuff. And the thing is, if you came from Africa and then you was mixed in with everybody who look African, or if you mixed in with natives, Negro natives and all of that, and you come from Africa, there's no way to trace yourself back to there. But if you are from here, that's why maybe some of us can trace our lineage to natives from here, because they were here. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you were shipped from Africa and you got blended in, how would you know what tribe, where you came from, and things of that nature? So I always say,
hmm
if you come from another land, like if people come from another land to here and they mix in with the people from there, you become that. You don't become you're not what you came from. You see what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah.
So we would be more American or native than quote unquote African.
Right.
Miss Drama
Cause
Dome,
it's
salute. My bad.
no, you good. Cause like I say, you can't go too far back. You just can't. Like we at the end of the day, no one really knows but what we have living and what we can see as far as research can go back to, and
Right.
that is native. That's the native, and hopefully the Bible is correct and we are from each.
You never know. I mean, you have pick you have the Black Madonna, like this is a colonial carving, and then, this is it says Christos Negro, so
Mm,
I didn't make that up. And then you have the Pope, um he he's honoring the Black Madonna and stuff like that. So it's not like we made this stuff out. We made this stuff up. The people who quote unquote colonized us and took over. This is what they're showing us. This is what they're telling us. Like, this is my great 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 grandparents. And if you see my great 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 grandfather, his head, it look like he has Indian head. You feel what I'm saying?
yeah, it
So
looks thick, but it looks straight at the same time. It's just thick and straight.
right. So this is where our land. He's the one who you know passed our land down to us. So I don't. And they looking they well dressed. You know what I'm saying?
Dapper, yes,
So
dapper.
when I seen that, it made me think. I thought, how we see the movies. Yes, that's they all how they depict us. So when I
Yeah,
seen this, I was shocked. I said, "What? There's something going on here."
yeah, something's not adding up.
Right.
I went to the Smithsonian. I think that's how you say it, Smithsonian Museum in DC not too long ago, and they have a lot of antiques and just information about the Spanish culture and African culture. So it just seems like that we all just in the beginning, back then, we're all mixed in to become like who we are now. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not just Africa. Like, we see people who wear the dashikis and stuff, but you really don't know. You don't know.
You don't know. And before that, you got to remember the Moors ruled Spain for 700 years. So if they saying the Moors are black, then this before the Spanish came over here, they was already mixed in. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, it's so much to unpack. There's no way that you can tell who's just straight African and who's not by how they look. That's racist. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. So, but what we do know is that we were born here, we were raised here, and we grew this and we chew this. So give us our respect Give us our title back and give us the reparations we deserve, okay? Because that all I know is that we from here. We didn't fly here. We didn't swim here. We were born here.
Right. And they don't call Puerto Ricans, um, they don't call them African Puerto Ricans, or they don't call them Spaniards. They became something else. You know, you have the Africans, the Tainos who are natives, and the Europeans who are Spaniard. And some of those Spaniards was mixed with Moors. So they became their own ethnogenesis. So it's the same thing with us. You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And this is a depiction of a painting of some, I guess, natives or Indians who came to Europe with Columbus. You know what I'm saying? So when I see this, I'm like, this man got a little afro right there, like,
Yeah, both of
you
them
know,
got little afros going on
right.
here.
So this is not Tonto or what I be seeing, on TV and all that. So I don't know, man. It's just it's very confusing. I think we don't know, and I think us not knowing, we just have to accept that we all Negro, and this is what we was classified at. We all mixed in. We created something else, and to say we are all straight African or all straight Indigenous or all straight this and all straight that is disingenuous, you know.
And I also want to say Christopher Columbus didn't discover anything because who were the people that were on the land already when he got here?
Right. Right.
So, I mean,
That's a whole nother story. Yeah. That's a whole nother story. Because, I get it. The West Indies, Christopher Columbus thought he was in India. You got the West Indians. But if he never came to North America, how you got American Indians? So that always confused me.
mm, that's why they say you just got to do your research. And that is something that I am encouraged to continue to do because if you don't know, you don't grow. But if you don't know, you can't fight for what you know or what is right. You can't fight for something if you don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? So just continue to do your research. I know I am because it's a lot more that I need to learn. But this was a great topic, and I really appreciate you allowing me to, have a conversation with you and
I
talk about some things.
appreciate you. I see you really did some studying, though.
I did. Sometimes it depends on the topic. I'm really diving in, but when you mention like certain tribes, okay, I only know about three. So when you name these tribes, I'm like, wait a minute, like there were so many tribes that were just thrown into like Negro or color that they just try to dismiss who they were. Like if I did not know that these tribes existed. Like, and that's because that's what they did. They just listed them as free Negroes or colored and kept it moving.
Right? And then Indians couldn't vote. I played a clip. So you had to classify yourself as Negro if you wanted to vote. So that happened to the what's the name of this tribe? The Narragansett tribe. They had to classify as Negro in order to vote.
Oh, yep, I see that here too. I see that in my notes. But is that I'm trying to figure out, is that what the Cherokee, they ruled that Cherokee freemen descendants have the same tribal rights as Cherokee by blood. So they were okay, so I'm not trying to keep saying this, but because they were the closest to get reparations, was it to restore like voting rights and access to tribal services? Um, is that the only thing that they're willing to do? Is basically just give them voting rights? Is that the only thing that they fought for? Like to be okay with, you know?
Yeah, because you got to remember it's the same thing. So now you have the $5 Indians, you have the more European so called Native Americans or Indian. They like gatekeeping who is classified federally as a Native American or Indian. So, but these people are not. They're not. They don't fit the description of what was described by the the Europeans who came during back in those times and all of that. So, what they do is they see the darker skinned Indians or the ones who have Negro features, and they say, oh, they not pure natives. They're mixed with African. You feel what I'm saying? But in the records, it's telling you that there were natives here before Columbus and all, and at that time who were described as Ethiopian or Negro. So it was no natives really here, and if it was, it must have been like a small amount that was described as having European features. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just white supremacy, and it trickles down into the natives too. And that's why I said I don't want to be no Indian. I don't want to be none of that. We are Negroes. We built our own thing. We were segregated. We had our own thing. We invented. We have a lot of patents that they stole. The filament and the light. We wouldn't have light around the world. Telephone. The internet, online, all of these things that we invented contributed to making the world more modern, and we don't get nothing for that either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're being erased out of everything, and if you take away us, we don't have what we have right now. The world is a whole different place.
Yeah. It's like every certain amount of years they just erase what they build. Like, okay, you're native, we're going to erase your heritage and call you Negro. Okay, we're Negroes now. Let's go ahead and build our own, neighborhoods, our own businesses, our newsletter. Let's just build off who we are, and we're growing and multiplying and being successful. It's like, okay, now we're going to take away Negro. Like, what? Like, are you going to take away African American next? Like,
yeah, I think they're gonna take away the American. We just African, and then it's kind of like if you write history with black and African, it erases what we did, because anybody can be an African American. Elon Musk could be an African American. Anybody can be black. If you look a certain type of way and you get your citizenship, you a black American. But that's why people start saying foundational black American to try to show like. We are talking about a specific people who did things before immigration, during slavery, Jim Crow, and all of that stuff. And I guess people is in their feelings about it and all that. But at the end of the day, feelings is feelings. Crook, appreciate you, my brother. Story about culture, the only treasure you truly possess. Teach and adding the treasures, always seeking the truth. Salute, my brother. And I tell people from especially the Caribbean that we have to, just like what we doing, they have to do the same thing. We got to get on the same page. They got to get on the same page, and then after that we can come together, because you got to remember they were shipping people from North America to the Caribbean to Latin America, and people from Latin America to the Caribbean to North America. So we all could be related and intertwined, but first we all have to get on the same page with our own people first, because then there's going to be a lot of confusion. You know what I'm saying?
yes, and I do agree. Treasure is precious, and we need to remember. And like you said, they might take away African American, and we're going to be just labeled as American. So now we got to fight for so many names that we had, and the things that we did behind those names, and who we were when those things were created.
Right.
So,
and then I hear some Africans say, African Americans don't know where they come from, and they only say that we honor the African name. They don't say that about Caribbean people, where they come from.